Good partner.
What's happening? Reporting live from the other side of America.
Yo, it's been a while, man. It's been a while. We got hit with the pandemic, all kind of stuff.
We got hit with two. Well, one pandemic has always been going on. It just now everybody else just realized it. But yeah.
Right. It's the HipHopMatrixShow. What up, though? Myself, J.Hall, this guy right here, DJ Akademiks. I don't even, man, you know what? It's so crazy, bro. I don't even, let's, how you doing, bro? How you doing?
I'm actually doing great right now. I'm feeling real good. I've only been up for probably about a total of 20 minutes before you hit record. But I'm feeling good. I'm not gonna stunt. I'm gonna just let you. I'm gonna go ahead and let you throw out the real.
Yeah. Now I'm here for you, brother. I'm here for you. I'm not here to make you look bad. I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's no secret we was out of commission because of the coronavirus that kicked in. And it was weird, man, because I was listening to an old episode of ours that I was editing, and you and I had mentioned it back in November. It was real quick. It was like real quick. I don't even know why we mentioned it. It was like, they got this corona over there, man. It might hit over here or something like that. And then lo and behold,
comes right over like
yeah, man. So I mean, first, how did you and your family do? Everything, like when it came to shutting down, like schools and work and all of that?
Well, initially, I mean, we knew it was coming, but when it got real for me was when the NBA shutdown hit. When the NBA shutdown hit, that's when I was just like, all right, boom. That's when I did my supermarket run. I did my little panic run, when you just try to load up on everything. I went to a 24-hour Walmart that night and loaded up on. I spent like $400 in Walmart on groceries that night. It was crazy. I was like, oh, this is real. So that's when it like the light bulb. I mean, I knew it was real and I was taking it serious, but then I was like, yeah, this about to get crazy. So let me go ahead and boom. That's how that was when I really started like I'm trying not to say take it serious because I was already taking it serious. But
speak your truth, man. Stop trying to be political. Speak your truth. You didn't take it serious like the rest of everybody else.
That's when I thought I should get wary.
Got it. No, I mean I was actually out of town like a week before. And then when I got back up is when everything started shutting down. I was like you, like I had to rush out. I rushed out to Costco's. Well, I went and got me a Costco's card. And like all in one day. Yeah, like I didn't have one. Like all in one day, man. And I stacked up as much as I could. You know what I'm saying? Like did as best as I could. And I didn't realize too, man, because the one common ground that introverts and extroverts both have is choice. And I don't mind not being around people, man, but I did not like only being restricted to one spot. That was driving me crazy. I mean, I'm fortunate to work mobile anyway, but to not be able to go to like a coffee shop, not work, I mean, small thing, because I like to disconnect in my environments. Like when I'm in this spot, I'm doing this. I'm in this spot. I don't like
I turn it off and turn it on too. So I mean, I got an on and off switch. Sometimes like I'll be up in life for the party and got everything seen, and sometimes I'll just be like.
And I'm financially humble, man. I'm financially humble, and I ain't got no 8 different rooms. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that luxury. It's just me in these 4 walls.
Financially humble. Okay, yeah. Financially humble.
You know what I mean? So it's like I don't have the luxury of being able to.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
You like it?
I'm financially humble. Weird, bro. I'm just financially humble. I'm just financially putting my place right now. That's all.
Man. So you and I, we linked up for the first time, man. Maybe since the pandemic, right? We've been like about 90 days, man.
Yeah, first time physically seeing. I mean, of course I've talked to you, but I mean, physically is it's been about 3 months. 3 months.
I mean, is that? I mean, I'm about to say, did we link up in 2020? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It just don't seem like it. And unfortunately, we linked up on a circumstance that was not one that I would have dreamed of. But like you said, it's all too common. We was at the DC protest yesterday.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's interesting, man, because coronavirus was in the news every single day, right? Like I was watching CNN, man. They had the number count going up. Like matter of fact, we had just hit, I think in the United States, like 100,000. And all of a sudden now, it's all about, it went from the coronavirus, the unfortunate death of the brother George Floyd, to all the rebellion and the quote unquote riots happening all across the country.
And the protests. We not feeding into the.
I said riots, rebellion, and protests. Riots,
to
rebellion,
the BS narrative. I had a reporter on live TV. I didn't even tell you this. I had a reporter on live TV yesterday. He didn't know he was talking to a polished radio personality, so he was trying to push me to acknowledge certain things were going on. But nah, that wasn't happening. So yeah.
Well, what do you do?
Oh, so he was like, he came to me, yeah, we're live on Channel 9. Do you mind speaking? Sure, okay. So he's like, so what can you say to the peaceful protests that's going on now and everything that's going on a block away from here? What could you say the difference is in the shift in the behavior? I was like, I've been on both sides. I don't see any shifts in any behavior. I see all love. When I look out here and I see what America is supposed to be. I see black, white, brown, everybody out here focused on one common goal and one common cause. And we're not diluting it, and we're not underlining the issue. We're all about the issue, and everybody's talking about the one thing. I see nothing but love right here. So what you're saying that you see, I just don't see it. I'm all around here, and I've been all through it, but I just don't see it. He's like, well, it's going on like a block away, right up there. I was like, I don't see it. I see people making their voices being heard. I see people with blowhorns. I see people talking and making their voice heard, but there's no aggressive behavior. Everybody's safe. Everybody's enjoying themselves, but people are letting their voices be heard. Yes, but I don't see any aggressive behavior whatsoever. It's all love. So he was just trying to divert it, and I diverted it right back because he was trying to create a false narrative live on TV because he thought he got the right one that could just, oh yeah, nah.
And
it wasn't like I was lying because it was truth, because it really wasn't.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, how are you going to answer a question about something that's a block away? How did he know that you was even on that block? You were around there? How you going? That's like you.
Well, it's 16th Street, so 16th Street, because he was talking about, because we were at that point we were down in, like, for people that are in DC, 16th Street is probably about a good 8 blocks long, leading up to the White House. It's like 8 or 9 blocks long.
The new Black Lives Matter Street.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter Plaza. We were down. If you look at the Black Lives Matter Plaza, we were probably down by. I was probably by like the I and the L.
Okay. Yeah.
I was down by the I and the L. If that puts it in perspective to a lot of people. All right. And he was talking about right up there by the White House, which is right there where the DC logo is. Gotcha. So that's the difference in places he was talking about, where I could literally see it and he could see it, but it was just a couple of blocks away. So he was in reference to that, but it just wasn't. He just picked the right one. He thought he picked the right one, but he really picked the right one.
He really did pick the right one, right? It's crazy that you got agents like that that's doing that, man. And you got people that are trying to, no matter how much truth that's being told, you still got traditional media outlets still trying to pour into a certain narrative, because it's like night and day. What you're seeing on the major media platforms is completely different when you go on Twitter Live, for example. It's a whole different story. The crop out, the narrator that's talking, it's completely different. And it's, we have one thing that I do like is that we have more control of what our voices are now. We may, or you can make the argument that we don't always use those voices properly, but we have more control of our voices. We don't have to wait on you to deliver to us what we said after you didn't chopped up to make it fit what your agenda is.
Yeah, we're gonna unfilter. It's coming straight to you, straight down the pipe.
Yeah, because even as he's talking to you, I'm pretty sure there's like 3 other people with the cell phone that can get the raw footage right there. You know what I'm saying? Because you and I, we come prepared whenever somebody talking. Whenever somebody asks me, hey, can I get your comment? I'm like, yeah. And I always give you the look to be like, because I'm on. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not playing that, man. But it is interesting, though, that I saw a meme the other day. It was kind of funny. It was like, it said, I can't believe that the coronavirus blew a 21 lead to racism. And then somebody replied and said, because racism is fight on his home court.
Yeah, racism is the Patriots, and Corona is the Falcons. Is the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
That's exactly what it is. When we was at, so yes, I mean it's been a lot of protests throughout the city of DC and throughout the country. But yesterday, I don't even know where it originally came from, but it was like, yo, this is about to be the biggest protest in the world, in the land. You know what I mean? Like I knew people who came to town. Like I knew people who came to town just for that. You know what I mean? They didn't care. And you and I, we was out there with our masks.
Absolutely.
Right. But do you think
and my hand sanitizer? I was strapped up. I had hand sanitizer. I had some gloves. I had all that thing. I ain't bringing Rona home. As soon as I walked in the door, I would just wait. I walked straight to the shower.
Yo, I got naked at my door through everything. I wrapped up everything in plastic.
I walked straight to the shower. I ain't touching nothing. I walked straight to the shower as soon as I got home.
I bathed in it, man. What would you describe because you was out there a couple hours before I would. What would you describe your experience was?
Yeah, I got out there probably 1:30ish, and I was out there till all of 2 o'clock in the morning. It was wild. It was certain parts of the day. It was like sections of the day where certain things went on, and the time went by so fast as you're just involved in the experience. Because when you first get up in there, you want to see the Black Lives Matter sign up on the thing. You want to see all the logos. So that first hour or so you're there, you're just basking in the scenery and just seeing everything. You're seeing all the Black Lives Matter banners all over the place. You're looking at the boarded up stores. You're looking at you're just checking. Really, you're like a tourist in your own city for a moment. Mm-hmm. So it's just like you're really just trying to figure out and just take it all in what's actually there. So that's like the first hour you're there, hour, 2 hours you're there. And then once you get that in, you actually start paying attention to what's going on and listening to the people and interacting with people a little bit more. And I actually spoke. I spoke in Black Lives Matter Plaza as well.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was great too. It was a great energy. I mean, it was like, because the streets were packed, and this was around 3 o'clock when it was prime time out there. It was you couldn't even see Black Lives Matter on the street anymore because the whole thing was packed. And I'm talking this way, but there's 5,000 people in front of me this way, and there's another 5,000 behind me this way. So it was a surreal moment, and just talking to the people, and it's just it just, I don't know. It's something I'm a hold with me. It's hard to put into words to feel and actually articulate how it felt to be in front of people and get a great reception and people actually listening. It's one thing to just talk in front of people, but it's another thing to actually speak and people listen and they take in what you're saying, for it to be thousands of people completely silent listening to what you're saying. And they actually take it in, because we're all here for the same reason, and we're all here pushing the same agenda and trying to find the solutions, not really harping on the reasons we're here, but we're really pushing the agenda to get those solutions, to fix it and get to that next step, because we all know why we're here. And we can go on for millions of years about why we're here and what happened and why it shouldn't have happened. But all we really can do is push and say why we can't let it happen again, and what can we do to make sure it doesn't happen. And if you go look at what I said and read my speech, not read my speech, but see what me speak, it was probably 3 minutes. I spoke on that.
Okay. What would you say, because you've made, hundreds of speeches before. You spoke in front of schools, you've done community stuff, throughout the city before. I know you like to be a little humble on this show, but I like to, brag you up a little bit, because I've been there to witness some of your work. And you've done this before, and for similar situation before. What made this moment right here make you get that feeling that you just described? That was different, or maybe a degree higher, or was it different?
It was just it's a bigger stage, and it's kind of like, now this is a world issue, and this is the world is here. Like you said, people are flying in just to be here in this moment. So it's like everybody from all over the country was there, and it was just a big. And one thing about me, when I speak, I've never written down a speech in my life. Every time I'm public speaking, it's always off the top of my head, it's always from the heart. I've never written anything down, like not ever. So, and that's just something like that. I just like to do it that way. I feel like it comes out more genuine when I just come out there, and I may have one idea in my head when as I'm picking the mic up, but I've never once like pre-prepared a speech or pre-prepared when I was going to talk. Because frankly, I really didn't know if I was going to talk or not. But once I got there and I'm there, and it's like people see me and it's like, hey, you want to grab a mic? You want to say something? I'm like, you know what I do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how that broke out, how that happened.
It seemed like oh, my fault. I didn't mean to go. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, I'm glad it did. That's what I was done.
So by the time I showed up, my Uber was only going to take me so far. So I had to come from the National Mall and work my way up.
Oh yeah, we did too. We had to walk. Oh yeah,
okay.
They had it blocked down. They had it blocked off for a while. So
I
parked my car at the National Stadium, at the radio station, not far from the National Stadium, and then we caught an Uber over close as we could get. Then we walked to.
Because you were telling me you was like, yo, bro, they only gonna be able to drop y'all so far. And I put down the restaurant. I wasn't able to go as far as the restaurant I was able to go to. But what I was saying is, as I was walking up, you kind of you can feel the energy. And I knew purposely I wanted to be out there from day to night because I wanted to see the difference. You know, in the daytime, the one thing about the protest itself, man, is that you were feeling a lot of. You're right. It did feel a little different. It did feel global. It did feel like everybody was involved. And frankly speaking, as I was coming up, man, living in D.C., you're used to seeing some sort of protest. Like it could be a protest for left-handers. Like there's always a protest downtown. Especially ever since this guy got in office, like people, like he offends everyone, right? Like every time I'm downtown, he offends someone, and there's a protest of people who don't believe in using ink pens. Like he cannot help but to step on somebody's toes, right? So as I was going up, truth be told, it was majority white people. Like all I'm seeing is white people, right? And I'm seeing white people walking with like some purpose, like they like, they got a sign, they upset, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm kind of just taking it all in. And when I actually got on 16th Street, then I start seeing us, you know what I'm saying? Like we out there. And that's when I dapped you up and I saw you guys, whatever. And then when I made the split, what I was enjoying about it, but I still felt weird, was there were people there to help you. Like they were passing out free water, passing out food. Like I went to the food.
It was free everything. It was free food, free water.
I went to the food truck to get food, right?
Sanitizer, masks. Like they was giving out everything. It was all up. I didn't spend $1 down there.
No,
I told you. Money I spent was on my Uber.
That's what I was trying to tell you. I told you that when I went to the food truck, I'm prepared to eat, and the dude was like, his debit machine card wasn't working. So he just gave me a gyro and gave me a sandwich. And it was just like, people were just like, man, showing love. Like they were passing out water. They were telling everybody to hydrate. It was different speeches. And one of the highlights you saw later on, but I saw it first, was when DC came in the building. Like you knew that the DC movement, the DC, Mochella, they came down there, the DC natives, they came down there making an impact, which I thought was important because the people who don't know, for those of you, anyone who listens to our show or whatever, DC is a metropolis city, so it's separate between those who are natives and those who are transplants. And it's very important for those that are native, that are born and raised in the city, to have their voice. Because sometimes people can look over, real talk. I'm not a native, but I couldn't imagine. You and I, Detroit and Baltimore, real similar. And there ain't a lot of people who ain't living in Baltimore or Detroit that ain't from there. But we never had to worry about right. We never had to worry about us losing our identity in our city. You know what I mean? So it was very important for them to come down, which I thought that was a good move. They came in and they go. They was on top of the big truck, and it was festive. It was times where you saw people dancing, and I'm only talking about the daytime. And it was times of people there where you could see joy, but people was not forgetting why they were there.
Yeah, nobody forgot why they were there.
Nobody was forgetting why they were there, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like people were there with signs. I saw when one police car pulled up, they were booing the police car. You know what I'm saying? And I went all the way up to Malcolm X Park, and I saw an image. If I took a picture of it, I'll put up later on. And by the time the show comes out, people will see it. I saw with a defund the police sign right next to a cop car. You know what I'm saying? Like the cop didn't even see it. He there chilling, doing his job or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like this. And then on the left is defund the police. You know what I mean? And this is like, okay, you know what I mean? This is what's up. And everybody you bumped into, whether they stepped on your shoe by accident, whether they brushed up against you by accident, everybody was extremely apologetic. Like nobody was trying to fight for that heat.
And nobody wanted any type of, like, nobody was trying to start any type of friction. It was just a complete love. Everybody was family. It just felt like a big, like, family thing. Like, Black, white, everybody was just family for that. At that moment, everybody was just family all day long. My phone was about to die, and a random white lady pulled out a charger pack and charged my phone.
Right. And I linked up with you back after that because we both was on red. You know what I mean? And
she's like, "All right, use much as you need." All right, go ahead.
Yeah, and she was not, you know, and she was like talking passionate about how she had racist neighbors, and she
was from North Dakota. She was from North Dakota.
Yeah, and she was talking about how she had racist neighbors and how she had to scream at the top of her lungs about white privilege and how they were just in disbelief that white privilege even existed. You know,
absolutely.
And I, you know, I think that's also kind of like what it takes also too is that we can scream something all day long, but we need other people to kind of scream that same thing and understand what that is and understand that level of empathy. Now, I'm not trying to engage your emotional side. That one thing I'm done with doing is trying to appeal with how would you feel if the shoe was on foot. I just don't feel like they care. You know what I mean? As far as trying to apply to your sympathy.
If it doesn't apply, let it fly.
Yeah, but those that are of understanding, you know what I mean, that have a level of understanding and they're willing to take that, then yeah, use your privilege to, you know, use your privilege and power to go into the your community and your circles where we're not around, where those people who not speaking PC, and you can speak truth to power in that. And I, you know, she was saying that she does that. I mean, you know and I, we don't know if she's a liar or not, but I think that's an example of what you need also. Because it's really the conversation when you and I, people of color, are not around how they're acting.
Absolutely.
Know? Just like when it comes to sexism, yeah, cool. We can all talk about equality amongst men and women, especially black men and women, you know, because nobody wants to be that person to say something wrong and get ridiculed on Twitter or whatever. But it really happens when we're in our own circles of men and we speak about that amongst each other when there's no women around. You know what I mean? But to any white person, if you're consider yourself an ally, cool. When you out there throwing up your fists and everything, that's cool. That's cool. But what are you doing when you go back home to South Dakota or North Dakota? Oh, she never answered my question on why we need 2 Dakotas though. Well, did she?
I think she did because you gave her the answer. I think you answered it for her. Like you just blame something. There's only one.
No, she said that South Dakota is the best. No, she said because North Dakota is the best.
Okay.
And I said, is that because y'all just blame all the bad stuff on South Dakota? She was like, yes. I'm like, oh. So yeah. What kind of effect do you think that this would kind of have? Because there was, you know, you can't have anything without controversy. So you have a lot of people that were feeling like putting the Black Lives Matter sign in front of the president, in front of the White House, and having the street being renamed Black Lives Matter, and having the big paint saying Black Lives Matter, defund the police and the paint and everything. There are people who are making the argument that that's just a simple scapegoat from the real issue.
Yeah, it's funny.
They're using tax dollars as a distraction.
It's funny you say that because the movement for Black Lives, chapter of Black Lives Matter, DC had released a statement early in that day, like when everybody was going through the uproar, because they're saying that was Mariel Bowser's way of, you know, deflecting the energy, going back at Trump, getting everybody to focus on her against Trump, and she actually planned on raising the police budget from $580 million to 600 million, and they actually have meeting on the 10th, which is this coming Tuesday, about that. So, and you weren't there when it was you got there, I think, a little after it was done, or just right before they finished it.
What, the defund police? Yeah. I had just pulled up. Excuse me.
Yeah. But I was there like when they first started pushing everybody back and they roped it off, and I had a courtside seat to watch the whole defund the police thing come on, because at first they came out with the black paint and they started like blacking out the stars on the on the DC flag logo. So me not even being a DC hater, I'm like, oh, what's going on? This seemed like some kind of terror. It just didn't feel right at that moment until we kind of seen what was really going down. He was like, yo, should we like kind of stop this? Like, like I'm low key offended now that they blacking out the stars on the DC flag, and I'm not even a resident. And then my partner who was with me, he is a DC native, so he was really getting hot. And then he actually saw what they were turning it into an equal sign, and that was to go to a defund the police. So it means black. So now the street says Black Lives Matter equals defund the police. And it's just like, oh, we get it now. It boom, boom, boom. And we actually got educated later on by one of the people that actually did that. They saying that the DC logo is actually George Washington's family's crest.
George Washington family's what?
As in crest, like it was his like family's crest logo or something like that, and they made it into the DC flag. So and of course we know George Washington was a slave owner. He's the first president.
Look at all these slave owners posting on your dollar.
Yeah. Absolutely. So now and so that was a little educational that we got that as well. But yeah, that was a moment, and I was like, dang, I'm really like sitting like right here as this is going down. Like this is history. Like they really just hijacked the street on some just straight gangster savage type joint. And it was crazy. Like and that was the later parts. That was like 9-10 o'clock. So that was like me.
I was about to slide into that, how we got into the nighttime turned into a whole different, like when you thought you were tired, the nighttime turned into a whole different vibe, man.
Yeah, because when you got there, it was just like, that was like halftime. Because I was like starting to,
well, no.
Down. I'm like,
for you, yes. But I mean, when I got there during the day, the energy was still high. I'm not talking about for you in particular, but I'm saying overall, even when we went from night to day, the protest turned into a whole different type of beast from what you just described of them being like, no, we about to paint this. And then they had people doing the chant about the ancestors and all of that, man. Like, it became a little bit deeper in blackness at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, during the daytime, it was all like that stuff, like, okay, we are family. But at night, it became real, like, no, F that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you hear, you hear.
It was more, you got more younger people that came out, but it was still all peaceful. Though. Like, nobody had a problem with anybody. It was still a love atmosphere through the whole thing.
But that's but that's what we got to get away from, is thinking that just because people are serious, I mean, we're here for a threat. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the nighttime was just kind of went up a degree to just remind everybody what we're here for. But that don't mean that people were really about to throw things out the window, and burn everything. No, that's not what that means. But it was kind of like, it's like when your teacher come in the classroom and like, all right, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Let's focus. Like, that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah, but definitely, that night was a different vibe. And at night, it was still a lot of people, but it wasn't as many people. It wasn't like starting to feel, because during the day you kind of feel kind of claustrophobic because it was just like everybody all on top of you. So, but during the night, everybody had a comfortable amount of space, even though there was still a lot of people out there. So it was a different vibe. It was more comfortable, I would say, at night. So that way, it was like you get your chance to relax and like sit and like, just decompress a little bit while still in the midst of everything. So that's why the night was a different vibe. And it was like, that's why I say it was like sections of the day. And the time went by so fast. Like before you know it, it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
And when you say it wasn't that many people, you ain't saying it wasn't that many people. You mostly just comparing it to how it was earlier. Because it was still,
it went from 1 million people to a couple 100,000.
I think it went from 1 million to like 500,000, because you gotta remember, man, I walked all the way up. You know what I mean? And so there was small shouts and chants going on all the way up to Malcolm X Park. You know what I mean? All the way back down to the White House. So I think it kind of just left. I don't even want to say people wasn't out. I think people kind of just maybe left that section, because even throughout the city, when I left you guys to go to a place to call the Uber, which is a whole nother adventure within itself, I'll tell you about offline. There were like small sections of people, man, in different places. You know what I mean? And the city was definitely on fire. What kind of effect you think that this is going to have? Well, first of all, let me ask you, like, it's kind of touchy because I know this kind of been talked about over and over again. But why do you think George Floyd his murder, why do you think this had the effect that it had? Like, why? Because listen, we heard about Breonna Taylor just a week prior. Ahmaud Arbery, we literally, like, we saw his camera footage. Somebody else got shot. Why is it that this right here, you think, is like sparking everything?
Well, it was a perfect crime for the perfect time. Meaning it's a pandemic. Everybody is in the house. Everybody is sitting still. Nobody is, nobody's going to football games. Nobody's going to basketball games. A lot of people ain't even going to work. So it's like I'm sitting home and I'm on my phone. I'm looking at social media. It's just like I'm sitting still and I'm looking for something to focus on because I have nothing to really distract me. And America was at a point that they're not distracted by anything because everything is taken away due to the pandemic. So people actually had their undivided attention on this. So you had a lot of people's undivided attention because they're not distracted with everyday things or normal things they would normally be promoting or going on vacations or this, that, and the third. You can't leave the country because it's travel ban. you ain't going to Cancun right now. It's travel ban. That's still in effect until June 22nd. So you ain't going on vacation. Yeah, you're not doing a lot of things. So a lot of times you're just sitting home. And what do people do when they're home? If they're not watching TV, they're on their phones, on social media. So you have a whole country watching this graphic video, and it's just like, wow. So, and I think I would say it's the perfect crime for the perfect time.
Yeah, I think
in the worst sense.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on something, and I also think it made you forced to digest it. Because even like you said, it's not saying that it wouldn't have went viral and everything, because it was a horrible act. And I don't want to say it wouldn't have went viral or people wouldn't have been watching it. But like you said, people kind of would have been watching it maybe in transition, like on your way to the plane, on your way to go out of town. This one forced you to watch it, and then it forced you to watch it again. And we had to watch those,
everybody watched it plenty of times.
Right, and then we had to watch those 9 minutes. Like, and just when you think that we hit a ceiling of what we saw and things don't really fade us, and it's sad to say that, right? Like seeing a black man getting shot has gotten to a point where we're like, I'm forgetting the names, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you actually watch somebody slowly
leave this earth. Like, that's something we all were watching. Like somebody slowly leave and yell out for his mom who was no longer with us. Yo, like that hit different. You know what I mean? And like you said, especially after the effects of, I know for me, man, I lost a mentor to COVID. There's been other deaths that I don't want to say necessarily were for COVID, but there's been other deaths. One you and I share, you know what I mean, of a colleague that we know who passed away. People are unemployed. What, over 20 million? Maybe more than 20 million people are unemployed.
It's 40. It's 40, over 40.
Everybody has not got their $1,200 Trump check, despite what people might be joking about. Right. Everybody has not gotten their unemployment, despite the fact that it take you hours to fill out unemployment. Not to mention the anxiety that people are going through who do have a job that are worried about losing their job. Because it's hard for you to function properly at work, and you keep hearing that people are losing their job.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you take all of that and you watch this you watch this act happen slowly. And for me, what hit it is how casual and cavalier and cool, calm, and collective he was. Because even the times where
it was no emotion. It was so emotionless.
Bro, like, even the times where
he was completely out of it, like
bro,
gone, just about.
That's what I'm saying. Even the times where I faced police brutality myself, the officer was always aggressive. They were always angry at me for something, right? Like I triggered them, right? This dude was mad chill. Like that was scary. That was like, yo, that's how less of nothing we meant to him. That's how less of nothing we mean to America. Is you sitting there like you ain't faded by nothing. He knew he wasn't yelling. He just kept his knee on his neck and he out of there. And I think we all I think that triggers something within everybody based upon everything that we just, laid out, man. And so, I don't know, man. Do you think that this is going to have any kind of effect? Like, is there going to be any real change after this? Or we all are just upset? Or we all just want to be on?
There has been some change. Yeah, there has been some change already made. In the Minneapolis Police Department, they actually did change a few policies, one being that any police officers that witness any excessive force or any unlawful activity by a fellow police officer is not only required to intervene, but they also must report that officer as well. So that's one thing that will create a big change, because as I said, like it's going to take the so-called good cops, so-called good guys that he's not like that cops to point the finger at the bad cops to actually eradicate this, because that's the only way. Because
is it possible to have it to be a good cop in a system that's crooked? I mean, you can probably go in there with the honest effort, and I'm pretty sure there are cops who go into the situation wanting to do the right thing, but the system itself is wrong. Like what we've been seeing throughout these protests, we've seen police officers like those police officers in Buffalo, New York, and they killed that old man, and that old man fell, hit his head. You saw blood coming out his ear. Like,
right.
And then they wrote on a report that he fell on his own. And then when they got suspended, I got a number of them quit in protests. Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you beating down protesters? Like, you made the argument that you feel threatened by black people, and when we're in your car, you feel like I was
a 75-year-old white guy.
Yo, you're seeing them beating down protesters, like hitting them in the kneecaps, beating them down like protesters? Like the system itself, the way it was created for police officers, how, even with the best intentions, how good of a cop can you be?
You can still be a good cop, I believe. It's just, I'll say this. I believe that the pressure on the system is going to demand a lot of changes right now, because it's like one of those magnifying glasses on an ant. Like, that's what's going on right now, and because the masses have come onto it, and now it's not cool to turn the other cheek now. Before it was okay for the masses, the majority, to just okay, that's bad, and we're going about our life. But now it's not cool, because now you're the problem if you're turning the other cheek. That's the difference.
What's your take on when people were making an argument? If that happens to me, don't film me, help me. What's your take on that?
I mean, honestly, I don't want to die, so I'm gonna say, help me. But right. I mean, it still needs to be filmed. But I mean, because that's gonna be the only thing saving everybody from jail. But yeah, help me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. It was an incident in D.C. where you saw everybody like jumping on the police, and nobody was throwing punches. Everybody was just like pushing them or pulling the police, just trying to they'll push them and then run off, pull at them and then run off, so to keep the pressure off of the person that they were detaining, just to try, basically in an effort to save his life, never knowing which way that can go. And I think, yeah, I'm actually, if you see me getting George Floyd and I'm passed out, you say, yes, help me. I can't say that I disagree with that at all.
I don't disagree with it, but I think that's how ugly racism is. Like, racism is so ugly, it causes people to hate the person who is videotaping. It causes people to hate the person who shares the video. You'll see people online, stop sharing the video. And you'll see people that are upset about, why are you just filming it? And then they start coming at the person who filmed it. Like, I don't know how true it is, but allegedly the person who filmed George Floyd was a young woman. Allegedly.
Oh, yeah, she got a lot of death threats, but she didn't get a lot of death threats from people like for George Floyd. She got a lot of death threats for people for the system.
My point is, racism is so ugly, and we're so constructed in it that it making you lash out at everybody sometimes, except for everybody keeping this direct energy just at the person who caused the act. Because that's a lot. You're first of all, you're totally right. I've been in that situation. I've been beat up by the police. And you're right. When you're in those situations, and you and I have had these conversations, we've had our run-ins, unfortunately, as young black men, as black men. Yes, when you're in that situation, you want to be helped. There's no question about that. But I'm in that situation. I'm a victim. So I'm like, yo, I want help. But I think it's also unfair to put that pressure on somebody who may be a family man, maybe a family woman.
Who's not built for aggression. Who's not built for that.
Who's not
absolutely, but who is the filming is just as important, but it's more important after the fact.
Well, yeah,
that's what keeps everybody out of jail.
My question is, who is built or prepared for that? You walk out your door on a regular. You walk out your door on a regular Tuesday. You're a family man. You mean tell me you're supposed to throw your life out there? Because if they don't have a problem killing him, it's like the infamous Juice quote. It'd be 2 dead niggas instead of 1 half the time. Like, yeah, you got that one video where you see somebody, but that was also because it was a gang of them. What if it's just you? And you see 6 cops beating up on 1 guy. You gonna jump in that? They about to take both of you out. You know what I'm saying? Because technically you really attack the cop. Now, I'm not saying it's right? I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm saying that's a lot to put on a person who was not prepared for that. You understand what I'm saying? They were just going out to go get some milk because they were out of it. Like, they was not prepared for that. And for you to put your anger on them when the only weapon they had was the one that they used, like you said, that's a lot. But I mean, I see both sides. Like I said, I've been on the other side. Yeah, you're right. I'm talking now. But 2 hours later, somebody I'm help, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm all in.
I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
I don't want to die. Just like you ain't expected to die. I'm not expecting to die, but I'm saying that's a lot. That's what racism does. Like racism, we've been so constructed in racism, the way the oppressors make us think, that they'll make us take our anger sometimes still off them instead of keeping it on the system, the knee on his neck, the actual, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to lash your anger out on something else other than him, which I think is unfortunate. That's how I feel about that, man. You know, there's been some complaints real quick about a lot of rappers who are so-called, you know, the ones that are always talked about us in their community, like the Kendricks, J. Cole's. And there's been some criticism of people saying that some of them are silent. What the J. Cole criticism should die down because low-key, he was at a protest not too long ago. But you got people who are checking for Kendrick to want to say something. You feel like rappers who may be socially conscious within their music should be having a voice right now?
I mean, everybody popular isn't an activist, or isn't some people. I mean, that is their way of being activists. I mean, even if Kendrick doesn't, I say it both ways. I don't think people should be pushed to say something. Like, if it isn't genuine, he shouldn't say something. If he doesn't have anything to say, he shouldn't just talk just for the sake of talking.
I agree.
So, in the song could be his way of talking. Like some people, believe it or not, some rappers aren't very social. Like a lot of
stop thinking everybody's Tupac, man. Like, stop.
Yeah. A lot of entertainers and these athletes and different people, they're not like they're social. They're not those type of people where they know how to operate in front of large crowds and different things if they don't have a microphone in their hand, or if they're not dribbling the ball, or whatever, or if it's not the cameras roll, they don't just know how to interact with tons of people just on a human level. Their psyche and their personality might not be that. Their Kendrick Lamar, his activism and all that may come out in a dark room with a microphone. It just may come out then. That may be his creative space, which it is his creative space, but that may be the only way he really feels comfortable to express himself. So you can't really, just from being around different artists and stuff like that, knowing their personalities, you can't really beat up on somebody for not showing their face in certain situations. And it's still a pandemic too. So it's like, anybody that doesn't come out and be with people, I'm not mad at them because it is a pandemic. So everybody that is out there is, quote unquote, risking their life.
Yeah. And I feel that way too. Like, you checking for somebody to say something on Twitter. You take, for example, like Kendrick. Kendrick is not on Twitter or IG like that anyway. So why would you expect for him to want to jump out there now? And there's different levels and different degrees to a fight. Like, I saw that Jay-Z apparently has been allowing the Marbury family to use his private jet to fly back and forth, right? And I saw somebody give a yawn to that. And my thing is, well, Jay's nearly a billionaire. That's the kind of flex that he's supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Like, instead of Jay being in front of a large crowd and at protests, he called the governor of Minneapolis,
right? Like
of Minnesota, on the phone personally and had a conversation with him. Like,
that's what I want him to do. I don't want Jay out there walking down Black Lives Matter Boulevard. Like, that's not what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen.
Like, he's not Obama. Like, he's not walking down over the Selma Bridge. Like, that's not him.
No. Listen, if I'm in the bar and the Avengers are in the same bar with me, the Avengers and Dr. Fauci are in the bar with me, I'm going to be pissed off because they're not supposed to be here. Dr. Fauci's supposed to be somewhere else fighting the way he fights. You understand what I'm saying? The Avengers are supposed to be somewhere else. They're not supposed to be on the front lines with me. They're supposed to be out in space fighting Thanos. You know what I'm saying? I ain't looked at the Incredible Hulk the same since he was at IHOP eating those pancakes because it looked too normal to me. So it's like, you can't be expecting everybody to be out there the same way. And a lot of these people who have this criticism, they're on their couch. Like, just like you don't want nobody criticizing you, but you might be making donations at home, right? Like, you might be putting in money to Black Lives Matter movements. You might be online orchestrating a lot of things. What you think, if I don't know what you're doing on your financially humble situation,
financially humble.
Right, how you going to be able to say you're going to criticize what Jay doing? And listen, if that's the case, if Jay is doing something or you don't think he's doing enough, I'm not saying he's above criticism. Like, I'm not saying that at all.
But nobody's above criticism.
No, but I'm just saying that there's different fights on different fronts. You know what I mean? Like, that's all. And to your point, what you were saying earlier, some people fight is, especially as an artist, is taking in everything and then unleashing it upon the world with their music. And to spark other minds. You know, like the Tupac quote, like, I might not be here, but I'm here to spark other minds. That's just as valuable. The people that help you get to a certain point are just as valuable as the people who are to that point.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man. I'm hoping. I mean, I'm not someone who like to use the word hope. I would like to see change. But I do think one of the lessons of this whole situation is no matter who we vote for, like, don't tell people just to vote. What we have to remember is staying active is how you get things moving. So it's not about just voting. It's about voting and then some and holding someone accountable and making noise, because this can affect everyone, you know? And although it was a good movement yesterday and there's supposed to be continuous movements, I really would like to see change in that. But the only way it can be a change if it's totally dismantled and then we rebuild the whole thing. Like, white people got to acknowledge their white privilege, number one. You can't be telling me there's no white privilege. Once you tell me there's no white privilege, well, I don't know what kind of conversation we can have. You tell me there's no privilege, I don't know how far we can go. We can't.
Yeah, because it kind of nullifies the conversation at that point. You're not hearing me anymore.
Yeah.
That's basically what that says. You're not hearing me anymore.
And you're not willing to hear me. You're not even willing to hear me. Yeah, you're totally shutting me down. And I'm tired of people asking us all the time what we can do for them. When you have been, like, don't ask a person who has been the victim of something. You're going to ask someone who's been raped how they can prevent being raped. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. So stop trying to hold us accountable for solving your problem. Racism is your problem. You understand? We've been the consequence of that. So you need to go out there and do the work. You know what I mean? So shout out to those that are allies that are actually out there doing the work and they won't get offended. If you are offended about this, then you probably wasn't an ally. You can kick rocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I think we're good, bro. You know what I mean? I'm glad that you and I linked up like this. Last night I'm still taking it all in. I know
last night was amazing. Last night was reported live from the other side of America. It was we took it to the front door.
Right. And we need to continue doing more too. You and I, we'll talk about that offline about how much more we can contribute and do our part of that. And we still want to let everyone know, be safe, because the masks need to be there. We saw certain people out there like, I'm good, I take vitamins. Nah, bro, it's still a pandemic. Like, Corona's still chilling, you know what I'm saying? Like just because you
Corona is real and she is still out.
Corona is real. So, you know, if you are out there, please be safe. Like, your mask, your glove, and your sanitizer. Go home, take a shower, like Act said, you know, do safe. But hey, good work to you, brother. That's what I'm here to tell you, man. That was good work what you did yesterday, man. I'm pretty sure somebody heard what you said, and they're going to be that spark. So, you know, much love to you on that, bro.
All right, thank you too, man. Appreciate you coming out. It was great.
Well, you know, I appreciate that though, man. But we got a lot more work to do, so let's continue to do it, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. One love to you, man. What you gonna have for the rest of the day, man?
I'm about to go cut the grass, probably cook on the grill.
Oh, I can come out for the grill now, bro.
Absolutely.
I ain't doing it today because I'm exhausted, but I can
soon as run over, you coming over.
Oh yeah, I'm with it. Yeah. Because I ain't trying to bring nothing. Yeah, got you. I'm about to quarantine now for another 14 days anyway, so it is what it is. Shout out to class of 2020, especially back home in Detroit. I just want to say shout out to my niece who graduated last week, and my sister gave her a social distancing graduation. So much love to my niece. I love you very much, as always. All right, much love, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man. One love to you, man.
Thanks to you.
All right, bet.